Welcome, everybody. It is Tuesday night. Time for Outlawed Live. I'm Ron Stone. I am one half of your team here. Mike Idle is sitting idle there and ready to go in Bevier, Missouri. How's it going, Mike?
Excellent, Ron. How are things tonight? Just one pull on the weekend for us. That made it easy to get caught up on. I wasn't able to watch it live, but only one to watch on Monday morning. That's kind of my Monday morning ritual. Looked like an awesome show that you guys had up there in Madison this weekend. That was a good pull.
It was a good one. I don't know if I'm sure you were probably watching the action on the track when you watched it, Mike. But one thing that couldn't go unnoticed there was the size of the crowd there. Always a big crowd, and I don't know how, but it's getting bigger every year. They actually expanded the track this year, widened it out, brought in a bunch of new dirt in the off season. It was a great track, great competition, huge, great crowd. I'm already looking forward to next year.
Yeah, it was, and we saw a couple of staple runs that I would say too. We saw someone who has a habit of showing up with the Outlaws maybe once or twice a year, kind of a new habit of his that's fun. But the King of Smoke decides to come and play in our sandbox, and he laid down a staple pass. Kurt Paulson, I thought he had that thing, one of the best passes that we've seen on the season of any vehicle. So, you need those big runs at a pull. Like you said, the crowd was awesome. I think that's a unique event. That's a well-attended event, and kind of checks several boxes for what you want to see at an Outlaw pull this weekend.
Yeah, that thing looked like a diesel super going down the track there on Saturday night, Mike. I mean, he was going 37 miles an hour. He went 380 something or other, the longest pull of the night. So I owe him a Whipple's winning distance cooler.
Yep.
They have the longest distance of the night. And wow, that was just a beautiful pass he made, and belching the fire at the end after he made that pass. Just an amazing run. And I tried to save some of these, and it doesn't look like they all saved on here. We must have ran out of room on our video board, but I could probably link to that, Full Pull Live and show that run. But
are you looking for Esden's run?
No, looking for Kurt Paulson's run. I've got Esden's. Here's Esden's run right here.
Gotcha. He's named after Esden. Yeah, this guy is a legend in the sport. Been around a long time. Good friends with Mark Ulmer. They call him the King of Smoke. Diesel-powered super stock out of Dayton, Minnesota. Esden Lane, digging fever. South Dakota, make some noise.
I feel like that video, that's the third time, that I've watched it go down. I watched it live. That was one of the ones I saw live on Saturday. I rewatched the pull on Monday, and I saw it there. That video almost doesn't do it justice of the ground speed I imagine that he had. I feel like now that I know what I'm looking for, I'm like, whoo, he was scooting. But I bet you in person, like you said, 37 miles an hour, he was hauling the mail.
Now, that was Paulson that went 37.
Oh, okay. But Esden, I'm sure, was moving and grooving too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's interesting. I want to kind of chew on him. Let's discuss him here for a second. He's a puller. If he's not the single greatest active puller, he's one of the top 5 across any associations. He's got nothing left to prove, and over the past couple of seasons, he kind of just does his own thing. He goes where he wants to go. He doesn't necessarily chase points here, there, anywhere. He has showed up in an outlaw pull each of the past 3 seasons just since I've been with that. It could be more than that. That intrigues me. He's a fun, happy-go-lucky, jovial kind of guy. I wonder if he's not just a couple of conversations away from, hey man, come to a couple more of our pulls. Hey, chase points one time. You've never won an outlaw, national points before. Why not? I think it's intriguing when you see the king, the person they refer to as the king, making a point to come pull with us every year. I don't know. It makes me say, we're doing something good.
I'm sure there's some outlaw pullers have pleaded that case with Eston. Come on over and pull with us. I'm sure those conversations have taken place. But he ran into some health problems there for a while, and got back on the healthy side of things. That's when he decided to go out and start pulling. And like you said, he's kind of doing his own thing, and that's great. And we are lucky to have him when he decides to come.
Yeah. Yeah, but and we'll at least put it this way. He showed up at Wisner a handful of years ago, and he has not missed an outlaw pull since then. So whatever it is about, there's something here that he likes, and Minnesota's a little bit, out of our territory, but it's always fun to know that Esden Lane could be waiting in the wings at any given night. Right. So, something that keeps the fans coming. And like you said, huge fans. We've had huge attendances all season this year. Kyle Petch was talking last night on Let's Grow Pulling about, even though a lot of our pulls are only, an hour or less from each other, they sell out the venue night after night. One thing that is really remarkable with the Outlaws is the diehard following, the fans in the stands. The fans have been phenomenal.
Yes, absolutely. And some of these pulls were, you didn't think you could even get, you thought, well, we're at that point now. This is the height. This is the most people we're going to get here. And then you go into White Right, Texas this year, just blows your mind how many people that they were able to put in there. Madison, South Dakota, there at Prairie Village, just amazing the amount of people that are coming out and enjoying these pulls. And I love it. I love every minute of it. Mike, let's catch up on our comments here. Case Conover, a super fan watching from Lytle, Texas, probably counting the days off on the calendar there, marking them off as we get closer to that season finale there in Lufkin, Texas. VG pool party checking in, still hungover from 2 weeks ago. Better get that checked out. I think they call it alcohol poisoning, man. I think
it's that infinity whiskey or whatever that he invents out there. He's a wild man.
I'm not sure what that is. Didn't mean to click on that. Cole Lundahl, super fan, checking in from Wakefield, Nebraska. Robert Miner checking in from Niobrara, Nebraska. Mark J. Ham says good evening. Marty Samuelson. Paulson is killing it right now. Time to get the point. He is killing it. That thing, he is peaking at the right time of the season. And that thing, if I can get that video clip from the weekend, that thing, he had it set on kill. Dale Bartels, a lot of people on the east side missed Esden's pool because of all the smoke. Mark Willis watching from Carrollton, Missouri. That's one tractor that was absent from the
saw that
up this weekend. Was
a lot of the Missouri guys didn't make it up there. I saw the Ritters didn't make it up there as well. Of course, they're starting back school. Doug's starting back teaching. Their kids are starting back school. I think Dustin told me his wife's a principal, so I get it. This is first week back in Missouri, but there were a handful of Missouri pullers that didn't make it up to South Dakota. Of
course, Willis there from the same hometown as Corey Schluter. Mark Berner, Chris Pierce checking in. Tina and Eric Berger saying good evening from Wilbur, Nebraska. Ben Beller from the great state of Kansas. Hey, watching live from the campgrounds at the Farm Progress Show. Awesome. Spread the word about outlaw pulling over there, Ben, if you want to. 816 Motorsports. Ron Stone is my hero. Now, I'm not sure, but that could it be? That is Eric. Why can't I think of his last name? Claypool.
Now you know who runs 816, don't you?
Yeah, that's Willie.
Okay, I was gonna say you're gonna have to with the illusion. That's the illusion of Eric Claypool.
Well, what you doing, Will man? Will man. Hey, let's see if we can find that video. I think I got it now.
Event. Directions to the next pool, the full schedule, it's all there. Here comes Kurt Paulson, your number 2 tractor in points.
He is
Anthony with a crazy horse.
A heavy hitter.
Make some noise. Awesome pass by Kurt Paulson. Longest pull of the night so far, 386.23. The Crazy Horse with an exclamation point at the end of that pass.
Yeah, that was awesome to see in person, that run. You know, he had to be pumped. And it did, he did move up in the points a little bit. He's within 6 now of Jeremy Paulson, the Hawkeye hooker, with 1 hook to go coming up on Monday, on Labor Day, at the great South Dakota State Fair. Now, doing the math here, looking at the points standings, Mike, it would tell you that if Crazy Horse, if Paulson were to win, then let's see, 26, 5, 4, 3, 22. Jeremy Paulson would have to get 6th, but we're not factoring in the drops.
That's the ironic, funny thing is, we've seen this a couple of times when someone has a poor finish. So let's say, like Ron says, he goes 6th or lower. That's going to kick that finish out, but it might put back in, or it would put back in. You could almost, we've seen a couple people this year grab a 0, go out of bounds. Well, then the 0 falls off and then points go up into it. So, yeah, you really have to get the calculator smoking to be able to make the call right now as to what Paulson has to do. So it's going to have to be one of those. Paulson's going to have to go up there, take care of business, and keep his fingers crossed that the chips fall where they may. And, it's not an impossibility, but there is more than one wrinkle to how that's going to shake out. That's going to take some calculating.
Yeah, he finished 2nd on Saturday night. So Kurt Paulson, gained 2 points on him there and narrowed the gap. But with that, I think the same drops would apply to both. So I think, and then you'd have to count. That would make it a tie at that point, Mike, because that's an exact 6-point differential. And Kurt Paulson getting 1st on Monday and Jeremy Paulson getting a 6th. A lot of other pullers would really have to step up, and Jeremy Paulson would really have to have a blunder there to end up 6th, because looking here all season long, the worst hook of the year was his first hook with that tractor in Concord, where he got 7th. After that, he hasn't finished any worse than 4th. So he would really have to make a blunder. I mean, you never know. I mean, that's why we go ahead and have the pull. We can't, that's why we go ahead and have the event. We can't just prognosticate and say that's the way it's going to shake out. But that is really close. And, crazy. It's kind of weird, too, both guys with the same last name first.
I was say, so we know this. We're pretty certain that Paulson's walking away the winner this year. Mm-hmm. Let me ask you this, Ron. Is this good? And I think you and I would have the same opinion here. Is this good for pulling? Is this good for the light superstock ag class? Omer put together a long streak. It was kind of his class to win there for a long time. And then last year, Corey Schluter jumps up. Kind of finally, he's not the bridesmaid. He's the bride. He grabs the points championship. Now we're looking at it, yet another new points champion again this year. Holistically, isn't this kind of a good thing? This constant battle, this kind of maybe a new guy. You want the dynasties. You want to see Schluters do their thing. You'd love to see kind of like what Cody Yark's been chipping away at, trying to win his 3rd in a row in the pro stocks. But boy, how fun is it for our fans and for you and I and for the pulling world to know that it's not just a foregone conclusion when you start, that it's anybody's game. And here we've got not really dark horses, but good for Kurt Paulson to kind of put together what he's put together with this Crazy Horse. Good for Jeremy Paulson to climb back up in the saddle and, not let the heebie-jeebies get to him from last year. This is a good narrative no matter how it shakes out.
And they did initially. I talked to him after his first pass and, in Concord. I said, did you have, or maybe that was yeah, that was Concord.
Yeah, Concord.
Concord.
Yeah.
Talked to him afterward. I said, "Did you have some flashbacks? Were you a little nervous?" And he said, "Oh yeah, not gonna lie. You know, after the tractor splits in half, and you're hanging by the hook looking at the ground in the middle of the track, that's got to be a little bit scary. So that's going to stick with you." But he recovered after that, and now he's the points leader. But there's a part of me that really wants to see Mark Ulmer back in there with Illinois.
I agree. I completely agree.
I'm not saying not leading, but mixing it up with these guys, because now we've got some really good competition in there to give him a run for his money. You know, get Eleanor back in there, get the weapon back in there, and you got under construction hitting his stride. Ryan Boyce and the barn burner hitting his stride. Imagine the competition in that class.
Yeah,
those tractors back in there. It would even be more fun to watch this year.
And don't put it past Ryan Boyson one of these days to grab a consistency win or to grab a points championship through. I feel like he has built his tractor to fight the war instead of the battle. You know, some of these guys we saw with Schluters this year, they cranked that thing as hard as it could crank, and they fought some damage. You know, whereas Boyson, I feel like he's right there, always in the third, fourth spot finishing, second, third, fourth spot finishing. That's one. He could very easily find that strategy paying off and him grabbing a points championship as well. So it's a fun, but I agree with you. Love to see Mark Ulmer back there kind of saying, okay, guys, he's been doing his own thing. You know, he's been kind of just chilling and tinkering, but if he decided to come back with a vengeance,
that'd be fun.
That could shake out pretty neat, you know.
You know, talking about the consistency with Boyce, and I mean, look where he's at here in the Organics Midwest Summer Sweep points. He's number 2. That's consistency. Only 2 points out of the top spot there. I mean, that's,
and when will that conclude?
Well, let's look here at the schedule. And yeah, that one is over. That one is over. We talked about that last week.
Okay, so that one did wrap up.
Yeah, that was
right there
last week.
Right there at it. Yep.
So that consistency pays off. You know, he's and let's look at the points for the class here. Let's see, where are they? No, that's the wrong one. I'll find it here.
Mm-hmm.
I got them all in here, and I didn't label them.
There we go. You know, the other thing we could talk about, Ron, and we always talk about the variety of our modified classes. Both of our modified classes, our 7400 and our light mods. The hidden variety in the light super stock ag, you know, you can be an alky burner, you can be a multi-charger diesel, or you can be a big cube single charger diesel. Well, with Ulmer winning his with the alky, last year with the multi-charger diesel with Schluter, and now this year potentially with the single charger big cubic inch, you'll have one from every single camp over the past 3 years. So it's not like there's a preeminent, you know, oh, well, the alky guys win every time, or the this setup or the that setup. Sure. You know, that keeps them on their toes. People love variety in pulling, and that's something else we've got going on a lot right now too.
Yeah, you know, just as you're speaking about that, I go back here from somebody's comment. All classes had become missed the old days as it was more interesting.
And that's so funny, because as I watched Paulson's run from Madison, South Dakota, I almost said to you, I go, Ron, looks just like a 7500 Super from 1995, doesn't it? Just pick that front end up and just sprinted out the back door. So, no, I get what they're kind of saying, but no, there's still a lot to unpack. The glory days, they're as close to right now as they've ever been. You know, that's one thing. Back in the glory days of pulling, why not now? The glory days of pulling can just as easily be right now.
Aaron Collins checking in. Let's see. Ben Beller's not sure, but the live on the Outlaw page crashed. The one on Mike's page is still going. So, all right. Not sure what's happening there. Facebook's been doing some wonky things lately with me. I can't even connect my Facebook page to the stream here the last few weeks for some reason.
So Ben, do us a favor, because I can see too. It looks like we lost some people watching, and I'm assuming.
Yeah, it does.
So for those of you that are watching on my page or Ron's page or whatever, feel free to share that, and then that way, kind of, you know, it's going to let a lot of those other people know that, hey, this might not be working right now. Go ahead and share that to your personal page, or share that to your friends if they're also some fans of the show, and then that way they can keep watching as well.
Yeah, it shows that we're live, but when you click on it, it won't go live. Not sure why that is on the Outlaw page. Interesting. Not sure if it's a problem with Facebook or with StreamYard, but thanks for letting us know that, Ben.
Yep. We'll tell Mark Zuckerberg to turn it off and turn it back on.
Yeah. Zuck Fukerberg.
Yeah, that's who we need to call.
It's called Doug Both down there.
Yep.
Yeah, Chris Pierce noticed it too. Yeah, I noticed our audience was cut in half.
Cut in
when I
half,
looked up
yeah.
what the people watch. And Chris, yeah, he's saying go to Mike Idle there. Look at your page. So let's show the rest of those videos here.
Yeah, definitely.
Several there that four-wheel drive class fared much better in Madison. We say Madison, but Prairie Village is the historic town where this occurs at, and they've relocated a lot of these buildings from around Madison and such, and they call it Prairie Village, but it's basically Madison, South Dakota, just to clear up any confusion. You hear me mention two different locations here. So let's watch
1970 Chevy body calls it running wild. Hey, Chevrolet, make some noise.
You see the crowd there in the background, Mike, how big that crowd is. I mean, every grandstand there was just full of people. That was Larry Renner driving Luke's truck. That's the points leading naturally aspirated two-wheel drive truck with the Outlaws. This Monday, last hook for that class. He extended his lead a little bit. Got a pretty good cushion now after that win ahead of Matt Phelps in the dirt, where he can just finish in the top 5 or so probably and knock this thing out for his second year in a row in naturally aspirated two-wheel drive. And we can kick down here and look at the points.
Where is David James's other truck? Ron, you've got MSTPA and Central Missouri roots and whatnot, and this is a fun class, and I think it gets overlooked and it's worth talking about a lot. But does David James still have 2 trucks out there, and the Black Sheep is still just hanging out at home somewhere, or did it get sold? This is a question I haven't got around to asking this class. Do you know what became of his former points championship vehicle?
See, now James is just the hired gun. He's just the driver.
Okay.
Those trucks, and I'm pretty sure that the Black Sheep is still there, but it is, Philip Chrysler, right?
Yep.
His dad, Jerry Chrysler, is the owner of the Pit Bull and the Black Sheep trucks. So I think they're just concentrating on one truck at a time.
Okay.
Jerry is, and James is the driver. But yeah, I'm pretty sure they still have the Black Sheep.
Okay.
I haven't heard that they sold it.
Mm-hmm.
I know last year they made a test hook with a Pit Bull at Mound City, Kansas.
Yep.
And I heard it was going to be out. And of course, they just campaigned that truck all summer. That one running a big block Chevy, the Black Sheep, a big block Ford.
Yeah.
There's your points there in modified naturally aspirated two-wheel drive. Renner, like I said, extended his lead out. He's up to 222 now. So you're looking at 15 points here. That's a pretty good buffer.
I say that's you go to the pool for the reason. We're going to pull them, and we're not going to crown any champions yet. But that's going to be a tall order to overcome. So Luke Renner,
just don't go out of bounds on Monday.
Yeah.
All right,
yeah.
Luke, just don't go out of bounds.
But no, he's feeling good about looking at getting 2 in 2 years, and nice guy, hard worker, and that truck's been, humming a tune the past 2 years. So keep doing his thing.
Yeah, let's look at Super Farm, former points champ, getting back into the winner's circle here with the Red Rock.
Second in 2022 and won the points in 2021 and 2020. So this is a team that is serious about pulling in this Super Farm division. International people, help him out. Dave Rosaboom, Red Rock. Hey, how about those red tractors?
Yeah, Dave Rosaboom driving the Red Rock into the winner's circle there over the weekend. And got some more messages here. Yeah, Dale Bartel says Black Sheep is home. Yep.
Okay.
Kevin Davis is watching from Wayne, Nebraska. Let's see how some of these other videos we've got here. Let's go to, now this class was competing, but there were no points in this class. The points, last points hook for this class was Palmer, Nebraska, if my information is right. We had Palmer, didn't we?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
So this one made me panic, Ron. So I went into Palmer with my notes, and I was told 3,200 Superfield, they're done. This is their final points run.
Yes.
And I announced it. I even put a deal on my Facebook congratulating David Peterson and everything. And then I saw them hooking on Saturday, and I thought, oh my God, which that's something I would do, would be to overlook a pull. And so I went and looked it back up yesterday, and I said, nope, it was written in red, which I think means is a non-points hook, right?
Yeah, non-points. It was added late. It was added after May 1st, which you can add a class if you're a promoter after May 1. But at that point, it will not be a points hook. It will be a non-points event, because we like to give our pullers that are going to chase points ample time to plan when they look at that schedule. We don't want any pop-up events like ruining the vacation or family reunion or something like that. So they wanted to add it. The pullers wanted to go pull, so we went ahead and added it as a non-points hook. So Ben Beller checking in again. Platy has both turbo gray area on display at the Sukup booth at Farm Progress Show. Awesome. Cool.
Good for him. Picked up the big win Wednesday afternoon at the Iowa State Fair. So nice
good to see him
back for Tommy Platt there.
Good to see them back in the winner's circle too there, Mike. So let's look at that 3,200. Sure. I think the guy, we haven't seen him in the winner's circle. Yeah, the Bustin' Loose tractor. I trying to get used to this, and I think you do it as well, Mike. We have to quit doing that. Is talking as we throw the video up there, and it mutes us immediately. So you probably hear me say half of what I was saying there. What I'm trying
Ron,
to say.
it's what we do. They pay us to talk. We are people that speak by nature. So no, the 3,200 Superfield, not a ton of diversity. You said, this was a first time winner. Not a lot of diversity in the winner's circle this year. In fact, off the top of my head, I'm sure you can, you keep better track of the notes than I do. There's only been 3 winners that I can think of, assuming Casey Osmus got a win. If Osmus got a win, the only other 2 I can think of are Peter and Kavanaugh. Now, I know Osmus got a win in 2024. Don't know if he got a win in 2025, but I think there was only 2, maybe 3 winners in that class this year.
I had no, I don't see it here. I got information all over the place here, Mike.
Folks, if you've ever, I want every fan, this is one thing that none of you probably realize or think about. We should take a picture of it and post it sometime. Every fan should come up and look at the announcer's booth table sometime. I've usually got 2 books up there. I've got 2 clipboards. Ron's got, just as many. The information, we do like to have our information. So it does get spread across places, so.
When I was a kid, and I was tractor pulling was the number one thing in my life over everything else, besides breathing oxygen and eating and drinking. I could remember everything. I mean, it came to pulling. I knew the names. I knew the names of the trucks, tractors, when they got sold, what it got changed to, who had it before. As you get older, Mike, it gets a little harder to remember some of those things that you want to remember. So I know you're not as old as I am yet, but yeah, you do tend to start forgetting those things that used to just come natural in your past.
Well, the magnitude changes too. I mean, you're just looking at so much information, and the sport is so much more global and universal than it used to be. And you talk about vehicles, keeping track of who owns what and everything. Goodness gracious, especially with some of the other bigger pro stocks out there that you see in some of the other associations. You about got to have a doggone flow chart to keep track of those guys to know who's got what and what's been where and everything. So, no, the notes are helpful. You like to bring up all your information up there. But no, off the top of my head, Gary Kavanaugh picked up wins. David Peterson picked up wins. And I think Casey Asmus had a win this year. but not a lot of diversity in the winner circle in the 3,200 Superfield class.
Kevin Davis says we're young. He says so. Yeah, Mike is. I just try to disguise it as much as I can. Yeah.
Ron tries to look distinguished. You see, what you guys don't realize is that Ron actually, he puts the salt and pepper in his beard. He does that.
Right.
That's a choice. Yeah, he tries to look regal, but naturally it's like, a very dark, luscious thing. He splotches it in there to make himself look more distinguished.
Sophisticated. Yeah.
There's the word.
So let's go modified four-wheel drive Saturday. Now let's go look back a year. Let's go back in time to last year at this
the big bouncy bounce that everyone had something to say about
up there at Madison. Yeah. And this year was exact opposite. Everybody laid down a nice smooth path. And we'll go to the winner here.
Alcohol calls it backdraft.
Of course, you remember last year, these guys, they go hard. Last year, we tore a couple trucks up here at Prairie Village.
He's the first puller. He literally gets 3 attempts here. Right there, he's going to back up so he didn't break 100 foot, which everybody gets that option. But he's the first puller. If he doesn't like this next hook, this next opportunity, he can drop 6 places and come back. Now, four-wheel drive, a little tricky, especially on a sticky track. They want to get off that clutch as soon as possible, but if they get off too soon, they'll start bouncing. Good-looking pass for the Chevrolet out of Iowa. Gravity, Iowa, Ryan Thornton.
His second pass on his option could not have been more night and day different with his launch right there. Now, I heard you talking about announcing that a lot of that comes to how quickly that they're getting off the clutch, or, how long that they're staying in with that left foot. Ron, you've driven these a little bit before. How hard is it to make that split decision call, or how do you know when, okay, she's going to be hooked to the ground or she's going to start bouncing? Walk us through maybe what he might have felt in that first run versus what he felt in that second run.
I feel like in the four-wheel drive class there, it is beneficial, especially if it's a sticky track or if it historically created a bouncing situation, that it's very beneficial not to be the first hook. And we saw with Ryan there, he used his 100-foot option. I think he was kind of dipping his toe in the water to see what.
Okay, I wondered about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and once he felt it, maybe it felt a little bit different. He said, "Okay, this is a little different from last year, so I can do what I want to do here." There's a fine line there, to where you get off. You're got the clutch fully engaged and you go full throttle, because if you do it too soon, that's when you get to bouncing. If the track will take it, if the suspension's there, the quicker the better. But if it's a sticky track, so it's a what do you say? Double-edged sword there. You got to be careful.
Yeah. And then, of course, you can't be late with that throttle. You can't be late with that clutch, because we see this a lot of times too. A sticky track like a Wisner. I think we saw it up at Wisner a lot, rolling it out a long ways, which is safe. That's the equivalent of running a nose heavy, running it fat. But then you got to get up on top of that mountain, or else there's nothing left to climb. And if you're at 175 and still 2/3, 3/4 throttle, you're seated to the ground, but you got no momentum on the back half of things. So if
that track
it's a dance.
Is super sticky, you want to be full throttle and have that clutch fully engaged as soon as possible. But yet that's when you're going to have that bounce pop up. And but that's when they're going to slip that clutch out to where they feel it's safe, that, it's rolling fast enough, it's not going to bounce. And then you get on a loose track, you don't want to get in the throttle that soon, because you want to get the sled rolling, get the tires hooked up as best you can. You don't want to blow the tires off of it and be sitting there spinning. So, a lot of people think, that's not around this sport, think, oh, this got to be simple. You just get in and hammer down and go. Not that easy. Not as easy as a lot of people would think. So,
I think about this when I watch the mini rods. I watched, on Friday night, we didn't have a pull, so I switched over to watch one of the other associations on Full Pull Live, and I watched the mini rods. And the way I understand it, they have like a centrifugal clutch. They don't have a foot pedal clutch, so they are just everything with the throttle. Now, in one of those, do you just throw it forward and pray for the best, or is there still some feel in the hole with just the right hand there?
Yeah, basically it'll push your foot off the clutch is what it'll do. But with that centrifugal, that pushes your foot off the clutch. You can hold it as hard as you want, but it'll just push your foot right off of there.
Okay, so they've still got the foot pedal clutch, but it almost kind of takes over. When it's ready to go, it's going to go, and you're not going to tell it yes or no.
Let's look at. Let's see. We looked at that one. Okay. The right one. I don't know what that's doing.
Direct
one. So I feel like there's one missing here. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Got one missing. What one is missing here, Mike?
Well, we've still got. You're looking for winning runs. You got light limited pro stocks. You got
light limited pro. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the one that's missing.
Event direction.
One. All right, I'm gonna try to grab it here.
And then, did you guys have light pros up there as well? The 540s?
Oh yeah, we did.
Yeah. So on those, and I was trying to think the light pro, the 540. I'll look up on the app who won, but I remember thinking it was a really nice pass as well up there.
It was Ryan Mitchell.
With the hostile environment, yeah. What's his story? Where's he been this year? Does he run somewhere else, or has that been broke? I haven't gotten the full feed on is just he hasn't pulled yet. So maybe that's what it is.
He was running another series.
Okay.
Boy, here's Facebook giving me trouble again here.
Sure.
Folks, if I don't know how to let people know that I've got people messaging me saying they can't get the show for some reason. It dropped off of the Outlaw Facebook page.
The best advice I would honestly give to anyone watching: do us a favor. You guys are awesome fans. We have a great viewership out here. Share it to your personal page and drop a message and say, hey, technical difficulties. Feel free to click on my spot right here. So whatever you're watching from, if you would do us that favor, if you know how, if you're comfortable with that, share it, and we'll try to get it out to all those fans out there, and we will look into what's going on here in a little bit.
Yeah, unfortunately, I lost my end-to-end encryption there, and I think Ryan Rant was running with another. I think he was trying to run some points.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's of course a former points champ a couple years back.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I think I've got it on here now.
In the pull-off at Super Farm, Alan Andrews, the Dakota Deer.
That's not it.
Direction.
All right. So technology wins again.
We need, some of these other shows, they've got like producers in the background. That's what we need. We need to, and we've even talked about that at live stream production, right. Having that third set of hands, the producer. We try to play it off and be cool and act engaged, like we know what's going on as we're trying to figure out something that's befuddling us sitting in the background here. But that's happening all the time. Yeah, Dale 540. For some reason, I'm unable to get it transferred over. Here's a good question. I'm not sure if I'm at liberty to give the answer to this question, but I do know the answer. Someone, I thought it was, I watched on Full Pull Live, and I thought it was you that was talking about it in Madison, but maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was the other association for the Friday night pull. Someone announced this somewhere. Somebody did. So we wouldn't be spilling the beans then if somebody's already put it out there. No, I was it not you? I thought you talked about it. I don't think so. I don't. Okay. Well, I could have swore. Don't. It's headed west. Can we say that, Ron? It is in the state of well. If you're sure you heard it, I mean, I'm never sure about anything. I'm the color guy. I'm not the
there you
pulp. You're the big dog. I'm the one that goes up there with the adjective jokes. So,
you know what? They're saying that your page is freezing up now, so it might be a Facebook thing.
Might be a StreamYard thing. You know, maybe StreamYard is not playing ball. So
I'm going to go to your page here, Mike, and yeah, Facebook is acting very strange because Mike, you and I are obviously friends on Facebook, and I bring you up, and it doesn't even show you on here. So
it was. I think I heard it on Let's Grow Pulling last night, Ron. I think they went public with it on Let's Grow Pulling on another podcast. I think that's where I heard it said. I think people were talking about because Kyle Petch came on. We were talking about the 7,400-pound mod class, and I think the question was basically asked, "Are we going to see that tractor?" So.
Yeah, I'm afraid to say it. Mike. But the viewership has gone down quite a bit here.
Yeah,
folks probably going to come back and watch the show after it's recorded. When I'm not sure if it's a StreamYard issue or if it's.
Yeah, I'm getting messages now as well. People are messaging me. People who were just watching over here that are messaging me now and saying that it's freezing on my page as well. So, yeah, that tells me it's certainly something above. It's either StreamYard or Facebook as a whole. I'm almost going to guess StreamYard.
I don't know because.
Well, here's a good insight to it. Tina and Eric Berger are saying they watch via YouTube and there's no issues. So maybe it's Facebook. Facebook is not playing ball right now.
Yeah, I think it's Facebook because, like I said, I was having trouble finding you, which would be strange. Yeah, still, unless you unfriended me, buddy, I can't even find you on Facebook. So that tells me Facebook is having some issues.
No, we are still Facebook friends. It says I've got you looked up right here. No, I would never unfriend you, Ron Stone.
No, I know. I'm just kidding. But
I get little notifications on my thing that says Ron Stone has shared such and such post. You're like my news outlet. I don't watch the news. I got to stay informed by keeping up on the news through you. So.
Oh, it says, it's doing somewhere. It says the live video has ended.
Yeah.
And it's starting the show over.
So, and I just got a notification right here that says lost issue on Mackenzie Teeting, Michael Idle, NSPA, Full Pull, whole bunch. Just popped up on my page right now. So
there was 2 of those earlier. So we've lost 6 of the 8.
Yeah.
That you're allowed to run. So
yeah, it's gone on Outlaw, it's gone on Beer Money, it's gone on Full Pull. It's still good on YouTube. It's still good on Jason Schultz. What's Jason Schultz do to be so special?
I don't know. Cold out. Does Ron have shorts on? I did Saturday night. It was a little chilly. It ended up being a hoodie night for sure. Ended up putting the hoodie on. Got down in the 60s, lower 60s, and I think upper 50s before the end of the night there. They're saying through YouTube is the best place to go. Yeah, Alan Ulmer watching, light superstock puller, Madison Proud.
Oh, there is
awesome.
Are you friends? Do you have Alan Ulmer on Snapchat? I highly suggest watching real-time pull updates from Alan. Alan Ulmer was a very active Snapchatter, and he was sending me some updates from the cockpit. Getting staged back there at Madison. He got some little notes for himself up there on the dashboard that were quite enjoyable, very informative as to which button he wanted to push, and maybe some driving tips he had for himself that he had written in a little Sharpie up there. So that's some inside stuff. But I would encourage, it's neat. It's neat what some of these pullers will do to kind of motivate themselves and give them little reminders, So he had a fun one going on Saturday.
So let's check out the points, see what's changed here after the weekend, and just let everybody know there are 2 points, 2 classes where the points our final now. That is 3,200 super field. And that was prior to the weekend, as we spoke earlier about that being a non-sanction or non-points hook.
Points.
And Diesel Superstock is another one that has no more hooks this year with the Outlaws. So they're done and in the books. And let's see if I got all this stuff worked earlier. Let's check this class out. They did hook in Madison. Brady Gosler extends his lead a little bit here. We got 14 points ahead of Mike Mason-Brink. Of course, Gosler getting the win there on Saturday night. Looks like he may, if he hangs on here, the light limited pros. I mean, crazier things have happened, Mike, but they do have 2 more hooks. They'll be in Bedford, Iowa, and Spencer, Iowa in 2 weeks. So you never know. But
I'll tell you what, you said crazier things have happened, which kind of tells me where your mindset is. But I'll tell you one person who does not feel comfortable with that is Brady Gosler. I bet if you call Brady and said, hey, 14 points, 2 pulls to go,
oh yeah,
you got a spot cleared out. Because I'll be honest, 2 pulls, that's a lot. One thing, because they're finishing in Bedford. Is that what you said?
No, Spencer.
So do they pull back-to-back nights, Bedford and Spencer?
Yep.
I'm not even going to say it. I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to jinx anything, but that's a lot of action left. Even with the drops and everything, he'll feel a lot different after Bedford. I would say ask him after Bedford, and he'll say, okay, here's how I'm feeling. But he's not sitting there thinking that, it's a foregone thing by any means yet.
Well, yeah, and we can go back here, Mike, and look. The last time the Goslers won a points championship in 8,500 was
2017. 17 was it 17?
17.
So look at your notes, Ron. One thing. So I had the LLPs a lot this year, and this is something I started announcing. In the past 10 years, we have not had a repeat points champion in that class. So for the past 10 years, we've had 10 different points champions. Yep. So if they did win, this would be the first repeat victor we've had in a decade. So in other words, this is a tough class to walk away a points champion in.
But he's always right there, Brady and Bubba Gosler. If you go to 2019, they were third. Go to 2021, fourth, 22, second, 2023, second, 2024, second. So 3 years in a row, they were the bridesmaid.
Yeah.
So
you might say they're due. That tells me they're due. You're not going to keep the big dog down much longer.
Yeah, they're definitely due, Mike, for a championship here. So, Super Farm, Dakota Deer. It kind of looks like he's going to walk away with it. Alan Andrews here.
Phenomenal season. He's had a great front to back. Great season. Just has a really, really great job driving this year.
1 hook left, 11 points separating first and second there. Of course, the defending points champ there is in the number 2 spot. You never know. 11 points is a big jump, though, but it could happen. It could happen.
Keep your eye on. I'm already going to start talking. I'm going to start talking my 2026 predictions before 2025 is even in the books. I'm going to start off-season, podcasting. Keep your eye on that number 5 tractor. That thing is going to be a nuisance over the next 2 or 3 years for this class.
Yeah, I think he lost a turbo maybe on Saturday night. It sure sounded like it. Was unable to get a second hook there when they're going to back him up. It was a loud pop, and it was kind of that real sharp pop that kind of, it kind of sounds like a turbocharger. So he wasn't unable to get a good hook there. So you're right. That tractor is definitely doing well. But 11 points, 1 hook left to go coming up on Labor Day at the South Dakota State Fair. Wow, would Alan love to finish the points out, win the championship in his home state of South Dakota? That would be cool.
It would be special. Yeah.
So we looked at Light Super Ag already. That was really close, 6 points. Kurt and Jeremy Paulson's both tractors are, man, both hitting their strides. Alan Ulmer, he says that the endangered species broke the cam. Okay.
Yeah. So I threw that up there before we got too far away because I just wanted to, so it wasn't the turbo then. It broke the cam.
And there's Light Limited Pro. We looked at that. I must have saved that twice. 540 Light Pro. John Narragon leading that. Looks, and that class has, let's see, 3 more hooks, Mike.
I say they're a back half class. They're a second half, so they're not out of the woods by any means just yet.
So Unionville and Buckner. That's not this coming weekend, but the following weekend, the 5th and 6th of September. And then the following Saturday in Bedford. So 3 hooks left for that class. But you look at some of the dynamics here. Alan Shellum, that tractor will not be back out this year. It's like somebody dropped a grenade inside of one of the cylinders and just blew that thing apart at midsummer. Just another buck. He says he is not coming back out this summer till he tears it back down and puts it back together as a billet assembly. He's afraid of blowing that thing up. This class has gotten to a point now, they've found their breaking point where they're getting them all the fuel they can handle and all the air they can handle to that turbocharger. So they're the next link, the weak link they have found, their thinking is the blocks. So
Justin Grimes, the Grimes family with the brand new build, the first time that tractor's been Light Pro, they set it on kill up there at Rock Valley, and kill it pretty much did. And so they were like, well, pause. Basically is where they were at.
And let's see, go back. There's your 3200. This one is done. David Peterson wins that. And I went back and looked. I got as far as mid-July. And at that point, when we were watching some videos, Green Tractor hadn't won yet in that class.
So Kavanaugh and Peterson might have been the only 2 in the winner's circle. There might have been another red one now that you mention it. But, the green ones kind of underrepresented in that class and weren't there. But it was a 2-man war, is kind of what I was saying. Kavanaugh and Peterson really, had that class on lock this year.
Eckner's Express got him a win at Lee.
Yes.
That's as far as I got was Lee there in 3200. Let's see, move to the next one here. We saw this running wild, unless something really wild happens at the state fair on Monday. It looks like Luke Renner family is going to get him another points championship. Modified 4-wheel drive here. Thumper, Murray, Thornton, and Thumper. The Thornton clan here. And we just have to start calling them the mafia in their class. The Thornton mafioso here, as they rule in the top 3 now in 4-wheel drive. Ramrod, though, is brother Lane. Only 4 points out of the top spot. Ryan Thornton closes the gap a little bit. He's 12 points out of the top spot here. Modified 4-wheel drive has 4 more hooks. So plenty of time for those top 3 there to kind of
interesting. A lot of season
even Ritter, even Stroke Race still has an opportunity to do a little better in the points. They'll be in Unionville, Buckner, Bedford, and Spencer.
So a big run, kind of the final big hurrah. They're not taking the month off and going down to Lufkin, but everything from here on out after South Dakota State Fair, it's going to be all business. So, but a lot of pulling left for them. That's interesting.
Yeah, I think that's a wrap there on all the. We updated everybody on everything that had pulled the weekend prior. So that was everything that pulled this past weekend. Let's get caught up on comments here. Let's see. Deer Cruiser had several runner-up, top 5 finishes. Bubba's first. I'm not sure what Dale's saying there. If he's saying if he's first in points, or we're talking about his first points championship, possibly. So, we got
someone who really wants to talk.
Got to admire. So, she likes everybody here that's on the chat. So.
Casting a wide net, catch many a Fictron.
So, Mike, before we get too far out of bounds here, why don't you go ahead with your spotlight piece here? Who are you shining the spotlight on this week?
All right, we're going to take a look at a gentleman I had a nice opportunity to meet with, kind of, chewed the fat with him over there in Palmer, Nebraska, and diehard cockshut fan, super nice guy, very well-spoken, very intelligent individual, bringing something neat to the Outlaws this year. Kind of jumping up a class, but he's putting it on full display. When the smoke clears, you'll be looking at an Outlaw. And this week, you'll be looking at Terry Mammen with the Fat Chance 570 cockshut. He pulls it in the light superstock ag class, but that is actually a light limited superstock. And he actually, when we were at Palmer, we did a double down show with the NSPA Heartland Association, our amazing state level affiliates that we have out there. And they actually had the light limited supers that were pulling later that night. So he decided to pull it twice, him and the Wanted, who drives the is it Christensen or
Dan
something?
Christensen, yep.
Yep, Dan Christensen. They kind of went and talked to each other, and they said, well, let's do them both. Let's pull in both classes. So they were kind of tickled to pull that thing back in its original area. But big believer in the Outlaws. Ron, have you seen his pit vehicle? Have you seen the vehicle that he pulls his trailer with, his hauler, his toter?
I don't recall. So
have you noticed the ambulance?
Oh yes,
this year.
Yeah.
So that's Terry Mammen has an old ambulance, and they say the inside of this thing is full camper, that he's gutted it, and it's like the neatest thing you'll ever see. So maybe the most unique hauler we have out there. Just really cool dude. Let's get into his bio. Terry Mammen, Fat Chance, cockshut 570 with a 5.9 Cummins, and he says it is a light limited super stock, but of course he pulls that in the light super stock ag division here with the Outlaws. He said he's been pulling on and off for 50 years. He said, I started at 5 years old with a 140 John Deere garden tractor. He said, my first and most memorable hook was pulling with ITPA 1996 in Hinton, Iowa. Hometown pull I went to every year as a kid. Said getting towed down over the dike and in front of the crowd to the staging area was a dream come true. I've heard several stories about Hinton, Iowa. I think maybe that's a place the Outlaws used to pull, or it's just kind of one of those places that's had some pulls. Hinton is one of those that gets brought up a lot when you ask people about, memorable pulls or historic pulls. So thought that was neat. Said his wildest ride was in Humboldt, Iowa in 2001. Took a rough ride, broke the front wheel off, rack stuck in pump. So the engine ran wild, and bad day was his closing statement on that one right there. Asked him about how many points championships he's got. He says he's got 4 points championships with a naturally aspirated mini rod between the years of 2013, 2019, while pulling with Northwest Iowa Tractor Pulling Association. Says he pulled antiques with the cockshut in the early 90s. He says it was a tough tractor back then. We had a quick tack turbo, so we could pull antiques and open classes at the same pull. He said, I got second in points ITPA 1998, along with the Sportsmanship Award, as well as a 10th in Region 3. So I'm assuming that would be NTPA back in 1998 as well. Says his pulling hero is the ITPA guys from when he was a kid. Dennis Goodwin with Pride of the Farm, Wayne Longnecker with the River Rat, Ron Headley on Betty's Headache, absolutely classic modified, Randy Hinton on the Stray Horse, and Dreerson Silver Streak, as well as Ivan Carroll with the Levy Leaper, Jack Simon on the Supercock, Esden Lane with the Redline Fever. Says his first appearance was at Hinton. Says he saw the Connor brothers with Bad Medicine at the Iowa State Fair. So he saw Esden Lane at Hinton and he was the immediate hero. He saw the Connor brothers at the Iowa State Fair, and he said they were some heroes. So a lot of kind of listed a who's who of pulling, everything from Betty's headache to the bad medicine to the king of smoke out there. So a lot of, knows his stuff. Says day job, he's a professional snow fighter. Now, if that's not the coolest thing I've heard it called, he's a professional snow fighter for the Iowa Department of Transportation in the maintenance department. He also buys and sells old cars, trucks, tractors, or whatever as a hobby. He goes, I love a good barn find. Likes that unique stuff, Ron, likes those kind of like a Studebaker or other unique things out there.
Now you're speaking my language. Yeah.
I knew your ears would perk up on that. Says his pulling goals. He says to do the best that I can, have fun, go to as many pulls as possible, and try to represent the Outlaws well and promote pulling to get others involved. Hopefully, we can get the light limited super class going with the Outlaws. Loving his time with the Outlaws. Yeah. Wants to represent the association. Light limited super stock class. Okay, he's putting in a plug. I'll give him, Ron, light limited super stock. They pull with an SPA. It's a great class. Yep. Light super stock ag, phenomenal class. Hey, he's doing a good job. I just have a lot of respect for this guy. I think he's a really classy puller. So you never know. You never know, right?
Light limited super, we tried to get that going a couple of years ago. Could not get the pulls where we could get it in. It was conflicting with pulls with the guys that said they were going to, that wanted to come pull Outlaw. Just couldn't make it work. Just couldn't make it work a couple of years ago. So, we're willing to give it another go. If it would work out and we get a commitment from those pullers in light limited super stock, it's a great class. You look at Terry's tractor, it's a beautiful tractor. And I love it because it's unique. You don't see a lot of cockshut tractors around anymore. And it's a good looking one at that. So, I'd love to get that class back up and running with the Outlaws. It'd be a great one for promoters to choose from, the many classes we have. And as we spread out a little bit more and we have more promoters wanting to utilize the Outlaws for their fairs and their events, we need more classes. So, yeah, Terry, I'll work with you. Give me a call. Let's get it going.
There you go. I love it. One thing I've noticed where I've found a really sensible fit for the light limited supers, and I think off-season pulling is as big as it's been since the 80s, is kind of indoor pulling. I see this a lot down south where Full Pull goes and does some live streams, down in Tennessee and whatnot, and indoor pulls in the off-season, and you see the alcohol-only light limited supers down there, and they are indoors, 240-foot track, 390 cubic inch or whatever they're at. They are the hottest things out there, and I can't help but remember, back in the early days of Outlaws, there was an indoor or a winter circuit, and it's just things come to your mind, and those light limited supers, they like that. And I know that we've kind of stuck our foot in the water with going down south to Florida and some other things. You never know. And that's one thing about the Outlaws. They're kind of always, Ron says, give them a call. No such thing as a bad idea, or they're willing to listen. So, Terry, good discussion points. He says the best part of being an Outlaw is the pullers and the fans. There we go back where we started the show talking about those amazing fans. Everyone gets along and will help each other with anything. Fans are always great to see and talk to. And his personal message to the fans is get involved. Talk to the pullers. All pullers are good people and love pulling, from garden to antiques to minis to Outlaws. Everyone loves competition, but will help anyone with anything at any time. Terry Mammen, super nice guy. Knows more about cockshuts, I think. He gave me like the cockshut Bible. He let me borrow it. I'm going to try to put
nice.
It's I didn't realize that their affiliation with Co-op, the old brand that you see in antique pulling a lot, Co-op and Cockshut have some things in common. They weren't as linked with Oliver as I originally thought they were. Cool dude. When the smoke clears, you'll be looking at an Outlaw, and this week you'll be looking at Terry Mammen on the Fat Chance 570 Cockshut.
So you're talking about light limited supers. Alan Ulmer is already stepping up, saying he would build another tractor and put a light limited super.
Yep, that's exactly what he said right there. Alan Ulmer says, you know what? Hey, call Uncle Mark. There's probably something in the shop that we could piece together.
Let's see. Heck yeah, I'd love to get some winter pulls. Randy Gronaboom. Randy Grona, everything but having mini mods. We brought minis back. Hoping to get more hooks with them this next season.
Ron did more than just think about it. Ron saw him at a pool one day, and he says, "We have to have that." That was
on it, but a lot of things didn't work out. Number one, it's kind of a new class for the promoters. You know, promoters are a little afraid to step outside the box, try a class, you know, not knowing how many hooks they would get. And then we had issues with trying to get a sled. And then some confliction with, is that a word, confliction? With
I like it. Sounds good to me.
I like it too. That's my new word, confliction. We're going to use it all next year.
Yeah. Yep. Add it to our list of adjectives, man. I tell you what, the Ron and Mike thesaurus. You didn't know you guys were in for an English lesson.
Oh, I thought of a good one a little bit ago. I heard myself say it when I was pulling video. When at the end of Kurt Paulson's run there, when he belched the flames out, and Dale Bartel said something about diesel. You know, do I prefer diesel or alcohol? And I said, well, if I had marshmallows here, you know, I would prefer to taste a little bit of alcohol, a tinge of alcohol in my roasted marshmallows. So
a tinge.
I heard that, and I thought, oh, there's one I could have used against.
I came up with drove. Did we use drove? I came up with drove the other day.
I literally almost put it in the description of the show about droves of fans coming.
See,
literally almost did.
Yeah,
in the description there. So. Yeah, I did get those videos. And by the way, our crack team here, producers, did the research while you were talking, Mike. And yeah, during points, with the exception of Madison, which was non-points for the class, not a green tractor won all year in that 3200 Superfield class.
Solidly red. You know, there's a lot of red ones in it, but yeah, that's, you know, good for them. Good for them. Dominant season, 466 class. It's, you know, the red guys are happy in
that. And I did get those videos. So let's look at the 540 winning run from Saturday night. This is Ryan Mitchell, former points champion from Pella, Iowa, with hostile environment. And if you like Busch Light, this will be your favorite tractor.
Got to beat 365.68, waiting on the green. Here comes Ryan Mitchell. Hostile environment. Wow, we're seeing a good show here in the light pro class here tonight.
And then let's go to Light Limited Pro here. The winner from Saturday night, Brady Gosler in Spare Time.
Farm old Kyle Stepanek. Top dog right now. Here comes your number one tractor in points. Brady Gosler out of Ute, Iowa, Spare Time. Too close to call. Now look at that chicken over there. Look at it. Strutting around all cocky.
Yeah,
you know, I didn't notice. I didn't notice the background show the first time I watched it. Strutting around, looking all cocky over there. Yeah, I was just waiting for him. You know, those inflatables are more dangerous than we knew, Ron. And I saw him hopping from retaining wall to retaining wall over there, and I just thought, don't fall and hurt yourself. We saw some catastrophic failure out there in Wisner. You got to be careful with those blow up. But you know, in all seriousness, I am joking, but we do wish the best. There was an injury, and he is one of our outlaw family, so we hope he's doing okay.
Yeah, I think he had a broken collarbone, a broken clavicle from that fall. There, but no, that's
all on the track, right?
This was late, later on in the night, and it was getting chilly, but show ran a little long, and you could see the crowd started thinning out there after about 2.5, 3 hours, and ran a little long, but had a great show. Now here's this one. It's not a winner, but this is a brand new tractor, Brad Isle, running a component chassis now with his tractor called Wasted Money, new 540. out of Pipestone, Minnesota. And I just wanted to show this because it was such a good run on a brand new build, and you don't always get one that gets that good of a run right out of the box. And I think he made a run the night before during the antique pulls, and then got to put on a running competition here. It had a great pass, and I just wanted to show it too.
I don't know where that comes from. I saw by his truck out there, there was a whole big crowd, so they don't think it's wasted money. Right. And if you're having fun, how can it be wasted money, right? Here we go. First puller, 540 Light Pro John Deere at a Pipestone, Minnesota, Brad Isle. Wasted
Second
money.
time down the track. Pray for him.
Wow, good run. What a way to lead.
And we'll
So
I just wanted to show that.
Pass number 2. I got to be pleased with that.
Yeah. Heck yeah. So Kurt says going to break some on this winter. You're going to come up north, Craig and Mark and Alan. The Ulmer Mafia hang out to probably take us a couple days. Well, let's plan on it, Mike. Maybe they'll let us go out and ride some
snowmobiles.
Yeah.
You know, I love my job. Like when my boss comes on here and he's like, okay, here's your business trip. I need you to go hang out at a tractor pulling shop for 2 days. Like, you know, we could be doing a whole lot worse things. Right? Yeah, let's do it. I have no problem. And I know Alan and Mark, I think the Ulmers would be tickled to, show us around. So let's see if we can make something like that happen. I'd be happy to do it.
I'm all about it. I'm all about it. Colin Dahl says, saw a farm horse for sale marketplace earlier today in Rulo, Nebraska, way down by the Kansas. I know where that's at. That's right on the river there. Not sure who that is, Cole.
Now I'm gonna have to get on there and look it up. Yeah, Cole, buy it. We've got Alan Ulmer, who's already gonna build one. He said so right on the show, or at least Ron says he said so. We got Terry Mammen. We've got you. We've got Christensen we could bring over as well. So hey, we're 4 people committed. Limited supers.
You know, we got the Autos in Missouri, and there's a few others in Missouri that I think would come pull. Just, you know, it's when you have a certain number of tractors that aren't fully committed to your organization, aren't fully committed to the travel, you know, they're going to go where close to home is. You know what I mean? So not always just an easy thing to just, you know, add another class. You got to get commitment from those pullers before you go trying to sell it to the promoters. Because then I tell them they got to call Kurt when, you know, promoters, when they get upset because, you know, the class didn't show up. So you know, I put my, you know, my phone on don't answer when that happens. I'm kidding.
I'm busy.
Kurt's probably right now. He's saying that's why they call me.
Kurt says, you know what? Just for that, I'm not sending you guys up to South Dakota to look at cool pulling equipment. I'm sending you out to Vermont. So that you guys got to go to Vermont so you can get a super fan contest out there. We're on a business trip out there to see if we can get 50 states this year. He's going to send us somewhere else. Wouldn't be the worst. Wouldn't be the worst business trip actually ever. So
let's see. Yeah. Randy, I'm not 100% sure on some of that. I think probably true in some classes. Maybe I'm not sure. I just know that we're always striving to pay our pullers as much as we possibly can. Of course, they never get paid what they deserve, but we're always striving to make it worth their while to play in this sport that they love and we love, and so we're always trying to get them as much as we possibly can. They are the entertainment. We wouldn't be there if it weren't for them. So, well, Mike, we've run a little long once again. Let's see, Alan Ulmer's. We will need light limited super soon as the Associated grows. Some classes won't sustain 20+ hooks. I agree, Alan, and that's why we need more classes. So, and there are a lot of classes out there that deserve to get a little more spotlight, you know, shined on them as well. That's one of those classes, you know. Mini rods, the same thing. You know, we're going to promote the 2.6 diesel trucks, I think, in 2026 and try to grow that class.
That class is growing on me. That is a class nationwide, gets overlooked. And I tell you what, those are salty little dogs that put on a good show. That is a unique class. They're beautiful trucks. I like it. I am on the 2.6 bandwagon right now. So I'm all about that decision, Ron. I like that.
So, we're down. Let's talk about the schedule here real quick, Mike.
Yep.
I know we're running long here. I hope you didn't have a whole lot of
all your class. Got nowhere to be, man. Got nowhere to be.
Check this out. Look where we're at now.
We are down to the final, what is this? We're 7/8 the way through. No, we got a little bit more than that. We're closer to, I don't know, whatever. What fraction comes after 3/4, Ron?
What's
the next in the socket set? What comes after 3/4 in the
7/8 is an eighth more than 3/4.
Okay, so we'll call it 7/8. Maybe we're 7/8 done with the season then.
15/16 is a little more if you want to go there.
Okay.
So, okay. Yeah, that's what we got left. South Dakota State Fair on September 1. And then the following weekend, Unionville and Buckner. Weekend after that is Bedford and Spencer. Then we take a month off, take a breather, then head down south for the last hook down in Lufkin, Texas. 2 nights down there dragging and pulling in the pines. Wow, hard to believe that we're this close to the end of the season. We've already crowned some points champions on paper here. Interesting thing, I may be doing a little driving down in Lufkin. Just saying.
Okay. Kind of long overdue, I'm not going to lie. Can you give us any more information, or is it still a developing story?
Diesel pickup. That's all I'm going to say. Diesel pickup.
I've got some theories churning already.
And I would like to do what I intended to do back 7 years ago when I drove a turbine tractor in Pierce, Nebraska. I put a wireless microphone inside my helmet, but nerves and such, and the fact that I had my hands and feet full, hands and feet were full of doing things. My mind was only concentrating on driving. So, and another thing was I could not hear the announcer, and yet, so I didn't want to talk over the person that was filling in for me. I think it was Chris Kirkwhite was doing the announcing. I didn't want to step on his toes and talk if he was talking. I could hear him. So if I can get an earpiece and be able to hear the announcer. I think Dan Mayer's coming down to announce with me down there, and get that microphone set up in there. I may be able to talk as I'm going down the track. That's what I want to do. That would
give some a fourth wall break that pulling fans have never seen before. That would,
and maybe a full live could get me a camera as I'm talking, where they get my vantage point, looking at the gauges, looking down the track. Huh? Just saying, that'd be kind of cool.
I'm envisioning, God forbid, what the world would hear if you mic'd me up and let me go down one of those right there. I think you would just hear maybe crying. I'm not really sure that. Definitely, you're the one. Yep. Let's let Ron Stone do this one.
So we're gonna work towards that. I think cool. It's super cool. Alan Ulmer. Well, the mini rods are here to stay. Mini rods are here. If I got to go out and build a sled myself, dadgummit, we're going to have mini rods, because those small block mini rods are cool. So get to building, fire up the torch and the welder, and get busy up there, Alan. Building you a light limited super and a mini rod. Hope all that fits in the trailer. And I'll do my best to book them all at the same event, so you can follow them all. Nope, not driving the Taz. It'll be blowing smoke. So
that would be cool. If that truck's for sale, someone's going to get themselves an awesome wheel drive truck. I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, the Taz is for sale. Simons will probably buy it. So
it'll make it will go. It'll be brokered through Farley. All
right, Mike. Thank you for all you do. Thanks for all the super fans out there. Sorry about the issues with what was going on with Facebook and such. Hopefully that's all sorted out by next week. Don't forget to get entered in that Case IH Superfan contest. That's coming up here in a couple months too. Be giving that tractor away thanks to Case IH. But have a great week, everybody. Tune in live on Labor Day, 1 o'clock Central Time at the Great South Dakota State Fair. That's our next hook, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.
Alcohol calls it backdraft.
Of course, you remember last year, these guys, they go hard. Last year, we tore a couple trucks up here at Prairie Village.
You know, he's the first puller. He literally gets 3 attempts here. Right there, he's going to back up so he didn't break 100 foot, which everybody gets that option. But he's the first puller. If he doesn't like this next hook, this next opportunity, he can drop 6 places and come back. Now, four-wheel drive, a little tricky, especially on a sticky track. They want to get off that clutch as soon as possible, but if they get off too soon, they'll start bouncing. Good-looking pass for the Chevrolet out of Iowa. Gravity, Iowa. Ryan Thornton. Got to beat 365.68, waiting on the green. Here comes Ryan Mitchell. Hostile environment. Wow, we're seeing a good show here in the light pro class here tonight.